I'm Carly Cornell.
And I'm Harvey Cornell, and we are Dragon Phoenix Games.
Today we want to introduce you to our cooperative adaptation of Mythotopia. We'll start by, Harvey will tell you about the objectives.
Well, first let me point out that we have tested this for 2 players. I have not included anything in the rules about more players, but I believe you could possibly play it with more players. If anyone's interested, contact me and I can discuss that with them. It shouldn't be too hard of a change. But anyway, the idea is we're working together and we have a couple of objectives. One of them is that we have to take control of every province on the board. We each started with 13 for a total of 26 control between us, but there's another 14 that are neutral that we need to take control of. At the same time, in order to achieve victory, we also have to build all of our cities. We each have 4 cities that have to be built, and we also have to build the citadel, and with a slightly modified rule where you must first build a castle and then you replace the castle with a citadel. So it's 2 basic objectives: take control of every province and get all this building done.
Right. So that's pretty straightforward. You could just do that if you wanted to, but we have a timer that says you have to be done before we use up all the food. We're using these are victory point tokens normally.
I actually refer to them in the rules as victory points because it's confusing with the fact that some of these things have food markers. I'm just calling them victory points.
So
tokens.
the tokens are our timer, and how it works is for every 5 regions,
neutral provinces,
every 5 provinces that we do not have a marker on, we are going to pay 1 point. So right now we have 14 of them that are not controlled. That means that at the end of our round, that's each of us takes a turn, we will pay 3 points.
Because we round up.
Yeah. So as we take control, we're going to pay fewer points, but we have to get all of the control before we run out of tokens.
There's actually 89 points worth of tokens. I had to count it up when I was doing the rules. So you have 89 points to pay with as your timer.
And you're going to start paying high, and eventually you'll get down to the point where you're only paying 1 per round. But by then you'll be able to count your rounds, and you'll be holding your breath because maybe you'll get it done, maybe you won't. So.
Okay, so the next thing is we also have an encounter deck. And what we've done is I've made copies of all the province cards, and they're going to be included in the rules because you need to print them out because you have to have a second deck. You've got the main province deck is split up between her provinces, my provinces, and the neutrals. But I made another set, and actually you can just print out the ones I included in the rules so that you have another one to do encounters, because I need all provinces included in this deck to do the encounters. So when you do this, at the end of each player's turn, you draw 1, and whichever province indicated may have an encounter. And if it happens to be a province that currently has a dragon on it, because we do have some dragons and some ogres placed, and we use some of the other tokens in the game. Right now we have 2 dragons and 3 ogres in neutral provinces. If you draw 1 with a dragon, it's going to try to move to a new province and attack something. And we'll go through that in a little while. The ogres stay put, so nothing really happens if you draw 1 with that. But if you draw a neutral province card and it does not have a dragon in it, because if it did have a dragon, we're going to do that. If it doesn't have a dragon in it, we're going to take one of the army tokens from one of the 2 neutral sets of players. Because there's 4 player sets, we didn't use all of them. We'll put extra markers out which will represent increased defense for the neutral territory. If you draw 1 that's got one of our provinces that we currently control, then if it has a town on it, nothing happens. Or even if it has a castle or a citadel. But if it has a city, then we're going to owe a victory point marker, call it food if you want, because we're going to pay for it with food. So you will have redraw on your hand back up to 5, and you will have to discard something with food on it to pay that cost. If you don't have anything in your hand to discard, there are 2 other possibilities. there is an extra action that we allow in the game where you can discard province cards that have food on them to take tokens and place them on those provinces. Or you can also discard a province card that doesn't have food and then discard something that does have food, like a ship or a market, to put food there. So if there happens to be a food token on that province when you have to pay it, or connected by a road to another province that has a food token or victory point token on it, you can pay that food instead of paying a card. But if you can't pay either one of those two ways, then you're going to pay 3 tokens out of here for not being able to pay. So anyway, that's your encounters.
Feed
and
your people.
And there's a few other minor rules. Just see the rules. For example, if you move a dragon, then we have to reshuffle all these to make sure that they can keep moving. And
Yeah, so
last thing.
Last thing that we have changed is we are not using the victory point track. That's fairly normal for us. The other thing is we have taken some cards out of the improvement cards just because they don't make sense. And we will have 5 improvement cards available as an offer at all times. If we take one, buy one, because that's what you have to do, then we will replace it immediately. At the end of each round, when both of us have taken a turn, we may also consider whether we want to discard one of them and replace it. If we eventually get to the point where we've got a handful of discards, we run out of the main deck, we just shuffle and put them back out again. So that's pretty much the changes we've made. We'll play a couple of turns just to show you. It's a longish game, so we aren't going to show you the whole thing, I'm afraid.
One other part of the rules I want to point out, the list of action choices is slightly modified. There's not an action for ending the game because the game will end based on the victory conditions when it's appropriate. So no one has to take an action to end the game. We cannot take the patronage action because we're not doing victory points, and that has to do with the victory point cards, and that we're not doing anything with victory points like that, so that's not a choice. And there's 2 more. One of mine we kind of mentioned. You can discard cards to put these tokens out on some of the provinces. If that comes up, we'll show you. But the last one is we have eliminated the action of end the war or end a war, because what we're doing is you can't do an invasion unless you're going to win it. And it's resolved immediately. So there's no such thing as building up and then deciding, oh, I'm going to take an action to end this war. You just don't do an invasion unless you're going to win, and then it's taken care of instantly. So there's
Right.
that action's just gone.
Kind of meshed those 2 together.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, and I guess I should mention that, I mentioned there are dragons and ogres. Well, in the regular game, they don't have a point value. In here, a dragon has got 5 points of strength and an ogre has 3. So they are quite a pain when they're in your way, because it's really hard to take territories when they're there.
and they're going to take them, the dragons at least are going to take territories back from you, which means that your price, you thought you got it down to paying 2 per round, and he goes and takes a territory from you, and now you're paying 3 again. That happens.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Dragons happen.
Dragons happen. Yeah, are you going to start, or?
Sure. I didn't draw any cards yet.
I didn't either.
Okay. Just like, although I think for the most part, the game's played just like you're used to. So we draw 5 cards and get 2 actions.
This doesn't look like a shuffle.
I shuffled about 7 times. You may have gotten an odd draw, but I did shuffle about 7 times.
Alright, I'll just do one more.
Well, let's see. I'm playing blue, Carly's playing red, and it looks like we've got the mountainous areas pretty well under control. We only have 1 here and 1 here. I mean, we don't really have much in the way of mountain regions to go get.
We've got a lot of the plains here.
Yeah, all the central stuff. I mean, we even got islands except for this one dragon out here. This island's done. So most of our work is going to be out here in the middle, which has never happened to us before, but that's an interesting result. I think I will play a ship card and put a ship out in this body of water, and then I will play a card with a coin on it. And you mind if I take the cavalry?
Go for it.
Okay, so I'll take the cavalry card and put it in my discard, and we'll replace that immediately. Now I've had my 2 actions. I go ahead and draw up, and then I draw an encounter card.
I'm gonna check how much.
And my encounter card has a province of Ogdode. This is Ogdode. It has a town on it, and if you recall, if you get one with a player-controlled town, no effect. So my turn is over, and it's Carly's turn.
I should have spent a minute looking at my cards. It looks like I've only got three coins in my deck.
I've had as few as 2, so.
1, 2, 3, 4. A few more bricks than usual. Maybe 4 coins actually. That's not so bad. Okay.
Yeah, well, I have 3, so.
Yeah, I am thinking that I'll start, of course, with placing a ship. Now, what I'm going to do is place mine here on this little landlocked thing because you can't get to this dragon except over land. And as we know, ganging up with land and sea is a good thing to do with a dragon.
Yeah, I like to use the ships against the dragon. See, this one here could be used against that dragon, but it's always a difficult choice to try to get provinces first and get us down to only paying 2, which means we're going to have to take 4 provinces from them, or get the dragons out of the way before they rampage and take something away from us.
So I'm also going to reserve these 2 cards. I'm not quite ready to put something out, and that's what I'm going to do. So now it's the end of the round. Do we want to ditch anything? Okay, if we ditch the farming for now.
Farming is a good choice to me.
Oh, there's the Mystic.
Okay, and then we have to draw you an encounter card. We got Shog, which is right here. That's
okay,
a neutral, so we're going to have to put. That will increase, it's got a neutral defense value of 3, and actually the rugged, which will count as 4. And with this, now it has a 5, that much harder.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So,
and now we have to pay the kitty here.
Okay.
We have 14 cards, rounding up is 3. So, or what I do is I keep them in stacks of 5, and then the one that's may or may not be 5, so that represents pay 3.
Yeah,
so she
pays, just make it faster.
We just move 3 points across, and
Yep.
that's it. We'll go back to the next player's turn. I have another coin. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and... Actually, you know what I like to do? You reserved armies. I'm going to keep the armies in my hand. I kind of like to reserve the food because I'm less likely to play them. So they can stay and put longer. I know the armies are going to get played sooner. So I like to keep them in my hand.
And that's the reason I like to put them down, because I'm going to be able to turn my reserve sooner. But that's okay.
Well, yeah, I look at it as I don't have to take as many actions restocking the reserve.
Right.
I can, once I put them there, if they stay there a while, then I'm not taking as many actions is what I'm thinking. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to play another coin, and... you know, I don't have any coins, so let me take the ship. It's got this is the ship that actually has a coin, plus if I get extra ships I can do more naval attack.
Gold mine.
And then I'm going to get another Gallingale, which is
another neutral, naturally.
neutral, and they get a
rats
defense.
Yeah, if these guys pile up a whole lot, it becomes quite expensive to get your new provinces. What do we have? Let's see, let's see, Purian. Where are the dragons? The dragons
Well, we just have 2. Now there's 2 dragons in this version.
Okay.
Yeah. We have been playing with 3 and we've decided to make them a little bit weaker. You can add the 3rd dragon if you want, but
hey,
it's bad.
good luck. If you do. So what I want to do then is since it's relatively remote from the dragon, I'm going to play my Empyrean card, and I'm going to build using these 2 bricks, and I'm going to actually put out one of my cities in Empyrean. So, because that opens up another card in my reserve, and I'm not delighted with the selection out here, by the way. But I think what I'll do is I'll pay my last card, my gold coin, for a Providence card. That at least helps me turn the deck.
And replace it immediately.
I will. And the build card.
And
Okay, so do we want to ditch anything?
I can live without the gold mine.
Me too. That can come later.
Even though I want gold, I'd rather find it a different way than using up stuff.
My favorite. Of course, I don't know that it's going
We
to matter
don't
much
really
on this
need it.
particular
Well, I mean, we do
layout.
have one ogre here,
Yeah.
and we have this guy. But other than that, unless the dragon, I mean, you got one down
You
here.
get one down there. Yeah.
It's
okay.
not that much.
Nope.
And, uh-oh, drew territory with the dragon on it.
Okay.
So that means we have to determine what he's going to do. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 provinces adjacent. And so there's a list of priorities for him to decide what he's going to do. His first priority is to attack one of our provinces, and actually only one of those is occupied by us, this one of
Yes.
mine. So in this case, that's what he's going to do.
That's easy enough to
But
decide.
let me just give you an example. Suppose I had 2 provinces next to him, then there would be a rule that would say he would pick the one that has the greater defense value. So he would have picked this one over that. Or if Curly had been in one, then it actually was, the rule as I've written it now is they would choose the player who's finishing their turn.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have taken Curly's.
Right. But we do have these 2 markers, and what we do with it is just put it at the center of the board when we've been attacked. That way, if there's a choice, are you still doing that? No, you're not doing that. Never mind.
No,
Are
I
you
wanted to make
marking
it
it at
clear. No, I wanted to make it
Do
clearer
we
in the
never-
rules. Like whoever's turn, whoever was the active player at the time it was drawn, that's
Has priority.
they're the priority target.
Mhm. Okay. It's a good rule.
Anyway, so there's only one player-controlled territory. So he moves across. I lose my town, and then I have to go find that card, and I lose that card as well. Here's the card. I have to add it to there, and that didn't
Didn't
yet.
actually trip
That's
the.
5 there, right?
It's still, yeah, so we're
So it
at
didn't
5.
increase our cost yet. I have to mix these back up because I looked at them.
And then.
And now your ship is not next to a dragon, so
Right.
oh well.
Mm-hmm.
But it is next to an ogre.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll help there.
So we're at the end of a round, so we pay 3 again. And we can evaluate the cards. Did we just do that?
We did
Oh,
that.
we did that, okay, I'm
Before we did this.
confused. But we didn't pay our fees.
Right.
Okay,
So,
so
how,
that's it.
how far do we
So
want to go?
that's about it.
Do you want to
I think
go
that's
until
enough.
we have a battle? I mean, it's not really any different. Like I said, the only difference is we automatically end the war when we go in. Otherwise it's exactly the same as what you're used to if you've played the game. So I mean, it may have a neutral defense point. Now, if it's got one of these purples, whether it be an ogre or a dragon, we do give you a choice that you can choose to attack just the ogre and not the province if you want, or you can do it all at once, in which case you add the 3 points to the defense. Or same thing with the dragon, you can attack just the dragon or the dragon and the province if you include the dragon. It's 5, whether it's by itself or whether it's added to the province defense. You have a choice. In all other cases, if you're attacking a neutral, say like this neutral, you must defeat the extra military unit and the neutral defense, and in this case the rugged, just like you normally would. So there's really nothing for you to see there. I mean, if you've got ships, you can add them, depending, just like the normal rules.
Yeah. So I think that's enough to give you a feel for what we've done to change the rules. We have, this one takes a little while to play, so it takes a long time to play test, several times. But we have really enjoyed playing it, and we do recommend it to you. If you have the game, or if you don't, go get it, because it's a lot of fun.
Hopefully you can still find it out there somewhere, and
Yeah.
let me tell you, the dragons are mean. They are a pain when they start rampaging around.
Yeah. And you'll notice we've already targeted the dragons. That's because we found out that pretty much you need to take them out as early as you can.
It's actually a difficult decision, because right now we're paying 3 points out of this pile every turn. If we can take 5 territories, well, it was 4, now it's 5 because I lost one. But if we can take 5 of them out, then we're only paying 2, and that gives us more time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but what he just said, yeah, but I just lost one. Right. That's the reason you go for the dragons. Just saying. So, you can find rules for our adaptation on our website at www.dragonphoenixgames.com. Help yourself to this game and the 30-some others.
Oh, 50
Oh, 50-something others? Oh, goodness, I'm losing track. So, enjoy, and look for us again. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.